Hi guys, so this is terrible lighting, I know. I went with my boyfriend to see his mother in Wyoming for Mother's Day. She lives in Thane, Wyoming in Star Valley, which is right on the border with Idaho, and it's about a 9-hour drive. So I've been in a car all day, not prepared to do this, but I didn't obviously have time to do a video for you guys. So this is the only time for me to do it while my boyfriend is out of the house. So it's just, it's been crazy hectic. I'm not gonna edit this video very much, and I'm sorry because I literally don't have the time to sit there and edit it. So it's gonna be crap, and I'm real sorry. Tuck Everlasting. So this book I was supposed to read in 4th grade, and I'm pretty sure I read at least most of it because I remember a lot of it. I just don't remember the ending. And this guy who sat across from me we had like 4 desks all pushed up against each other, and 2 of us were facing the other. The guy who sat across from me, Jazz, he was really cool, and he was left-handed, so I could read his writing without it looking like I was reading his writing. I legit just copied off of him for the stuff that I didn't know. So sorry to Jazz. I didn't copy off you in high school though, I promise that. But 4th grade, yeah. So in this book, the main character is a little girl, and her family owns this section of forest that they call the wood, and they have this little house on the edge of it, and she's not allowed out of the fence. This is her little play area. Of course, she's fairly young. I think she's like 11 at the time, so it's really just a safety thing with her family not wanting her to like run off into the forest. And she sees this toad and kind of makes friends with it because she doesn't have any friends. It's kind of set in like a pastoral, early medieval society kind of a thing. Probably like 1400s kind of an age. Eventually she braves it and walks into the woods, and she's like all proud of herself, and she sees this boy drinking out of the stream, and he's like, oh no, this is dirty water, but I'm like bottom of the barrel, so I can drink this dirty water, but you're a girl, you should have pure, don't drink this. She's like, well, if you can do it, so can I. Like, there's absolutely no reason. I own this land, of course I can drink from that. And he's like, no, you really can't. And his mom and his brother come upon them and figure out the situation very quickly and kidnap her. And she goes running off, or she gets dragged off with this family of 3. And this guy, really shady character, watches them take her away and follows them. And she discovers that the spring water makes people immortal, and you can't die, even if you're mortally injured. So, and you don't age. So I think the youngest boy is like over 100 years old. She's like, I promise I won't tell your secret or whatever, take me home. And it turns into a big deal with this guy knowing their secret, and this girl knowing their secret. It's just, there's a whole lot of drama, and of course, police get involved and all that stuff because a child has been kidnapped. Of course, there's a quasi-happy ending. It's just very strange for young people to read about a kidnapping. There's just a lot of like rule bending and unlawful behavior. At the time when I was a kid, I didn't think anything of it. Honestly, I just don't think I understood most of the book, because I was, 10? But reading it as an adult, there's so many morals. The biggest one, very obviously, is that even if you're given the opportunity to be immortal, it's not necessarily the best thing in the world. these people can't live out old age, and the younger ones can't have families. They can't stay in one place for too long. They can't make friends. They can't really go to school for too long. It's a really frustrating process for them. And of course they don't want to pass that on to anybody else, but 90% of the human population would jump on that in a second. But it goes to show that life works in a cyclical way for a reason, and you should not take it for granted. You should be thankful for what you have, and it's a really good story if you understand what's going on with it. I really like the author's writing style. Natalie Babbitt, she really gets her point across. There's a little bit of flowery language, but she's very direct and to the point. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's chosen for kids, is because it doesn't have a whole lot of adult flowery language. It's fairly simplified. On the other hand, the content is not super great. I will have like a bunch of spoilers at the end, but I do recommend this book for a lot of adults. Like seriously, like any adult who wants to read anything fantasy with a moral at the end. It's very good. It's very makes you think about your life and the things that you take for granted. It's very interesting. Not too long. I think the edition that I had came with a foreword, and it was still only 180 pages, so it took me like maybe 3 hours to read it, probably 2.5 at the most. I got my copy at the local library. There are no free Kindle copies available. There are quite a few book apps that you can get that have free classics like this, but I just couldn't read it at work, so it was either get this or find a Kindle version. I didn't want to pay for it, so this is what I got. It just happens to be the 40th anniversary edition hardcover, which doesn't exist on Goodreads in case you're looking for it. It's just the paperback that exists on Goodreads, and I didn't have the time or the patience to create a new edition when there's like 200 already existing. I believe I gave it a 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. Again, for the genre, it's not super great as far as content goes, but it's a genuinely good book. That's pretty much it. I'm trying to get through this like as quickly as possible. So if you are not interested in spoilers, look away. Whatever, subscribe. All my links are down below. All that junk. I will have a better lit video and not just my floor lamp. And my hair will never look like this again. I promise you that. Okay, and then spoilers. So my biggest issue with this book was the relationship between Winnie and the youngest Tuck. He, while being physically 17, is, over a century old, and she's 11. And actually I believe she was 10 turning 11, which just kind of makes it worse. He pretty much, he straight up says, I want to marry you and I want to have kids with you and have a family, and if you drink this once you turn my age, then we can do that together. Which is just like statutory rape. just saying. She's definitely not old enough to be making these decisions. She was as old as I was when I was first reading this book. On top of that, the mother murders a man, and while I understand the situation, he was accosting this person that she sees as a child, or as her child. It's still death. And it's not something that's necessarily appropriate for someone of the age group that I was reading it at. So just spoiler and heads up for parents and teachers. Of course, feel free to read the content, and if you disagree with me, then that's absolutely fine. That's pretty much it. I really liked it. I don't have a whole lot to say. It was a really good story, and I wish at the end that she had, of course, taken the potion, or it's not a potion, I guess, the water, and not wasted it on a toad, Or, I mean, she could have even gone back to the spring, as she suggests. However, on the other hand, she made the right choice. She was able to have a family and grow old and see them age and, you know, do everything she wanted with them. So that was good. But, you know, it would have been cool to see her reunite with the family. Or even if they had come to find her when she was 17, as opposed to just, you know, basically ignoring her. It was just really weird. That's it. That's all I've got, and I will see you guys again next weekend with another video. I promise. And it's Catcher in the Rye, so just be prepared for that.